My name is Mike Lanza. I grew up in Vermont. I lived there my whole life until I went to college. Moved to Long Beach, California in 2003 and have lived here ever since. I first came to Emmanuel. I would have answered that differently a year ago when I started coming. It felt like an accident. I was riding my bike through the neighborhood with Carter, my son, and I had been drawn to go to church. I knew I should probably try it out again. It had been a while. And from day one was just felt at home, and quickly made a couple relationships, got invited to the introduction dinner, and just had one great experience after another, and then ended up joining a fellowship group and went through the transformation series in the fall. You know, one thing that we've been really talking about together is the idea and the challenge of being 100% submissive to God. Giving and tithing is a piece of that, is a piece of that submission. It's saying, I know that this won't be my last dollar. Part of the process of getting closer to God and having a relationship that you know, you have to invest in it the same way He invests in you. Almost never had calculated what that would mean to actually part ways with 10% of my income. If you put your money, if you say, okay, Sunday's the first day of the week, so I'm going to spend this money on this, and then throughout the week, by the time the week's over, I still had the same amount left over, which basically means at some point I was just making decisions to say, oh, I don't have enough to spend on that, which I would have maybe normally spent it on anyways. So, you know, it didn't come as a sacrifice. It came as a straight, you know, joyful investment. The basket comes around, that's a moment to make that same choice. Because in a church like Emmanuel, you trust and you see where the money's going. Like it just feels right. It feels like, okay, we're making a difference. It made me feel really comfortable with it and obliged to do it. Jesus is there to either greet you or turn you away, and he suggests, and people show up to knock, and he says, well, I don't know you because you didn't feed me when I was hungry. You didn't give me a place to stay. Again, like the details, I'm not going to be hit perfectly, but the message of, you overlooked my need in this world, and my need meaning the people that are meant to be loved by you. You overlooked that for some reason, and you made that choice, and therefore you never got to know me. You never understood what I was here to teach you. On the flip side, so that I carry that with me a lot. I see people. Giving is good practice because when you go to teach your kids a lesson about how to be generous, and you haven't been yourself, it would make it very much more difficult, I believe. So just to see that my son knows that there is a cause and effect with how you choose to care for people, meant a lot to me. It meant it definitely changed me to be like, okay, I can't stop doing this. I need to keep setting this as an example for him of how to live his life and just love. And in fact, this morning we exchanged text about that. And, even if it is, God will find a way to make me, will find a way to provide for me anything that I think I'm lacking or am giving up in exchange for this. When I feel that I'm in submission, it is a feeling that, it's of total freedom. And then in Transformed, Pastor Rick Warren is pretty thorough in his explanation of the importance to give, and so I put a lot of thought into it. And I never really had extra. I never accumulated any wealth. My parents never had anything more than, just enough to get by and make sure we ate. But we never really, grew a bank account, and I wasn't really, so I've always been comfortable living that way, for better or for worse. But